Okay, there are the different types of relationship that can be exist between the tables that are one to one, one to many, many to many. So this can be represented as both tables can have only one record on each side of the relationship. Each primary key value relates to none or only one record in the related table. It means that the relationship will be built only between two none or only one record in a table. As you can see, one has the only relationship with the, let's suppose this is the table A, this is the table B, and the record of table A can only be relationship to the one record of the table B. Same goes to the other records as well, that these are the only single record. Each record has the single relationship to the other record of the other table. Then we have one to many. The primary key, as you can see in the diagram, that the records, this the record that the each record doesn't have the single relationship to the other record. The primary key table contains only one record that relates to none, one on many records in the table. As you can see here, that let's suppose this is the table A, this is the record of the table A, and this is the record of the table B. The record A has the relationship with the record 4. Same record 1 has the relationship with the record 6. Same goes for the record 2, who has the relationship with the record 4, and the record 2 has the relationship with the record 5. Record 3 has the relationship with the record 6 of the other table. You can say that each record can have one or many relationship to the other. Then we have many to many records. Again, each record in the board table can relate to none or any number of records to another table. Okay, these relationship required a third table called an associate or linking table, because relational system cannot directly accommodate the this relationship, because this is many to many. As you can as you have seen, that one to one or one to many doesn't need any extra table and any extra, you can say, large amount of work that is done here is not you can say large amount of work is not done in the previous two examples. So you can say that the record one has relates to the 4, 5, and again to the 6. The same goes to the for the record 2, who relate to the record 5 to the 6th, and same 3 has the the record 3 relate to the record 4 of the other table, record 6 to the other table. Then we have the concept of database security. As we have our database, and our database must be secured, properly managed, so we can assured, so we can ensure that, you can say, we can ensure the privacy of our data. Let's suppose if we have the record of the employees, and that record, you can say that record of the employees contain the personal information, just like the CNIC, the name, the phone number, the address. That is basically the personal thing that is not accessible to everyone, but it can be accessible only to the authenticated users or the authorized users. So this can only be done if our database is properly secured. And that you can say here the concept of database security arrived. Basically, database security is the mechanism that protect the database against intentional or accidental threats. You can say someone, if someone tries to, you can say, breach the security, if someone tries to protect the database against intentional or accidental threats. So here the concept of database security that protects the data from that threats. Security policy describe the security measures enforced, and that basically this you can say that there is the security policy who defines the who describe the security measures that are enforced. Security mechanism of underlying database management system must be utilized to enforce the policy. If you can say it's the responsibility of database management system to enforce the policy. Security mechanism of underlying DBMS must be utilized to enforce the policy. Here again, we have discussed in the first lecture that DBMS also is used for the management. So its policy for the security is also, you can say, enforced by the DBMS to secure the database. Basically, what are the requirements of the securing the database? Security curriculum. Security curriculum is relatively light in database system area. Focus currently on protecting information through network configuration, system administration, application security. Basically, when we talk about the requirements of database security, then it doesn't mainly focus on the system area, the database system area, but it focus on the protecting information, how it will protect, focus on protect information by using the network configuration, how it network will be configured, system administration, how the administration of the system will be done, then application security, how the security will be provided to the application. Need to specifically consider database system security issue, as we have only concern here in the database security, so we only consider the database security issues. What are the security issues that our database will may face, or data will be, or data will face? Then what are the goals? Understand security issues in a general database system environment. As we have to understand the security issues in the general database system environment, a specific DBMS environment, because DBMS mainly will, you can say, will do the retrieval, will do the management, administration. So it must be, we must have to understand the security issue in the DBMS environment. Consider database security issue in context of general security principle and ideas. Consider issues related to both database storage and database system communication with other application. Here, what database security lifecycle will look like. So first, we have to create, then we have to store, we have to use and share, then we have to archive, and then after archive, we have to maybe we have to distance, then again we have to do the we have to start the cycle again. Then we have the term of authorization. Basically, these are the two terms that are authorization and authentication. These are basically the different terms. These two are the different terms. The process of authorization involves authenticating the user to requesting access to objects. These are the sometimes referred as access control. Basically, how much the user have the control to access the resources, the grantage of privilege that enable a user to have the legitimate access to the system. For example, if we are working in the, you can say, in the education sector, there are the some of the orders that are accessible, or some documents that are accessible to the whole management, let's say to the faculty, to the admin, and to the student. But some are the confidential documents that are not accessible to everyone. So the people who are not allowed to use that confidential document means that people, that document is not authorized to the other people. Let's say that document is not authorized to the faculty, document is not authorized to use by the faculty, by the student, by the admin staff. That's confidential document is only authorized by the principal or by the vice chancellor, just like that. And then we have the other term, that is authentication. A system administrator responsible for allowing user to have access to the system by creating individual user accounts. Let's suppose we have if we have to enter in the system, we must have to authenticate ourselves, we have to must prove our identity that we are the authenticated users of the system. For example, if we have to log in on the system of our office, we must have to enter the password of that system that is allowed by the network administrator, or you can say by the owner. So we must have to prove our identity. Basically, what we have to do is the introduction to the user authentication. Authentication can be done by the password, or by you can do something by biometric, or something as that. There are different means for proving your authentication. Then we have the strong authentication, proxy authentication, and authorization. The third one is the backup and recovery. We must have to recovery, we can say, in general refers to be of various operation involved in restoring, rolling forward, and rolling back a backup. For example, if somehow our database is lost or deleted due to some reason, so that can be recovered if only we have, if we have the backup, we have the copy of our database. So we can recover it from that. The backup and recovery generally refers, yeah, as you people have the backup of your mobile phone data, as well as you save your you can say save your photos or videos on Google Drive as well. That means uh, your cell phone. So that data is also saved, or backup of that data is also created on the Google Drive. That data is saved there. Backup and recovery in general refers to the various strategies and operation involved in protecting your database against the data loss and reconstructing the data should that loss occur. It means due to the use of the backup and recovery, our data will be protected by by data loss, or by reconstructing the data should that loss occur. Then we have the other term, that is integrity. Basically, these are the terms that are linked with the database security. We have to deal with. Integrity is the fundamental components of information security. You can say fundamental component of the information security. Maintaining a secure database system by preventing data from becoming invalid. So our data must be valid. Only authorized users should be allowed to modify data. It means only the person who have the authenticity, authorization of using the data can change the, can update the, can delete or can alter the data. An unauthorized user cannot use the data. Numeric column should not accept alphabetic data. For example, if in our database we have the, let's suppose, um, we have a table of student. Okay, and in the name of the student, it's obvious that the this call attribute will contain data of of alphabets. Okay, the data, obviously the name of the student will be combination of alphabets. So this column, you can say, doesn't contain the information. Doesn't contain the data of numeric. Doesn't contain the numeric data. So this, you can say, numeric column should not accept the alphabetic data. That also lies under the integrity. For example, the student, again I told you the example. Then we have the encryption and decryption. This basically, you can say, encryption or decryption, that is the term for, you maybe you have heard somewhere the term encoding or decoding. That is linked with this, the encoding of data by special algorithm that renders the data unreadable by any program without the decryption key. For example, if I have to send the data that is, you can say, very protected data, and I have to send from, let's suppose, from source to the destination, then must I have to encrypt the data. I have to encode the data by using the some algorithm. Okay, and that encrypt, so the during the transmission mode, not original data but encrypted data will be sent, or encoded data will be sent from the sender to the receiver. And that encryption, that encoding is done by using the algorithms. Okay, that algorithm will be decrypted by using some decryption key, and that decryption key is available only to the authenticated user who will decode it. So here the data will not get theft, will not get misused during the transmission. Then we have the decryption. Database decryption is converting the meaningless ciphertext. Ciphertext again is the encoding text into the original information using the keys generated by the encryption algorithm. This is basically the algorithm that was used in the encoding scheme. Is will also give the keys for decryption. Then at the receiving end, database decryption is converting the meaningless ciphertext into the original information. So receiver will receive the encrypted text and decrypt it, then the understand the correct meaning of the text, what actually the user sent to the receiver, but actually sender sent to the receiver. This is basically the you have the plain text, then we have done the encryption by using some algorithm, then this is the encrypted text that is sent to the receiver by using some transmission media, and then we have to done the decryption to read this text, plain text. So this is also done by the key that is generated by the during the uh, encryption algorithm. So at the receiving end we have the plain text, the receiver will receive it. Then we have another terminology that we have to read in the database, that are normalization and type of the normalization. Any question till now?
No, no question.
Okay.
No, no.
Okay, next we have the normalization. Have you guys familiar with the term or have heard something?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm not familiar.
Okay, it's basically the advanced term in the database field. Normalization, basically, you can say it has different types, different levels. We have to see one by one. Firstly, we have to understand what actually normalization is. Basically, normalization is a process of organizing the data in the database to avoid redundancy. Redundancy means duplication. Duplication means something that is repeating again. Okay, in the database, it's basically the redundancy term, insertion anomaly, update anomaly, and deletion anomaly. Okay, anomaly is basically, you can say, is inconsistency in database that can lead to issues with the data accuracy and reliability. Anomaly can be occurred by the poor database design or storing anything in the flat database. So anomaly is anything that can be in that can lead to issues with the data accuracy and reliability. So insertion anomaly can be possible, updation anomaly can be possible, and deletion anomaly can be possible. A process of organizing data into table in such a way that the result of using the database are always unambiguous and as intended. There must not be any ambiguity. Such normalization is intrinsic to relational database theory. It may have the effect of duplicating data within the database and often result in the creation of additional table. Why? Because we have the millions and trillions of rows in our database, and we have the multiple collection of the tables in our database. So duplication can be done in the database. I have told you that there are different types of normalization. This is the first normal form, second normal form, third normal form, bytecode normal form, fourth normal form, and fifth normal form. First normal form, it can be written as like this: 1NF, and NF will be the capital. The first normal form enforce these criteria. If we have to normalize our data and we have to normalize our data in the first normal form, we must have to enforce these criteria on our database. We have to eliminate repeating groups in individual table. Okay, if there is any repeating groups in the individual table, it means any duplication is done, we have to eliminate them. Create a separate table for each set of related data. We have to create a another table for the set of related data. Identify each set of related data with the primary key. As I've told you that, as I have told you that each table has the primary key that uniquely identify each row. So we have to identify each set of related data with the primary key. This is the first, you can say this table is not in the first normal form because the color column contains multiple values, as you can see here, because each row can contain only one value for the column, each column. For example, product one will be only black or it can be only red, but here there are the two colors for the product and it cannot be possible logically. The second row, the second product is of color green, whose price is this. The third row is of green, red color, whose price is this. The fourth product is of color green or blue, green and blue. This is basically not possible logically. Of price 260, the fifth product is of black color, whose price is 100. As you can say, this is the small data, but when we have to deal with the trillions of rows, that is quite difficult and quite tough to identify this thing in that type, in that data. After decomposing it into the first normal form, it will look like this. Okay. As you can see here, that we any the both column where there is no anomaly, we have to arrange them in the separate table, just like this. The attribute product ID and price doesn't have any anomaly, so we have to separate them in the another table. As this is the second, you can say, criteria: create a separate table for each set of related data. And in the other table we have the row one. As you can say, you have seen in the in this slide that the one product one will product one has color blue and red, and product 4 has color green and blue. So this is, you can say, arranged like this: one black and one red. Two has the single color, three has the single color, but the product 4 has the two color that is shown in the you can see here that that is arranged in the separate rows, and the fifth of product is of blue black color. This is basically after decomposing our data into the first normal form, it will look like this. And in this we have the two tables. Then we have to arrange our data in the second normal form. And but let's see what's actually the criteria for the second normal form is. A table is said to be in the second normal form if the both following conditions hold. Table is in the first normal form. Firstly, we have to arrange our data in the first normal form. Then we will come to the then we are able to come to the second normal form. No non-prime attribute is dependent on the proper subset of any candidate key of table. Okay, let's see how is it possible. An attribute that is not part of any candidate key is known as non-prime attribute. Okay, this table has a composite primary key, that is the customer ID, because it uniquely identify each row. Okay, customer ID or store ID. The non-key attribute is location. In this case, location depends on the store ID, which is the part of the primary key. So we have, after decomposing into the second normal form, it will look like this. Okay, store ID. You can again, this is the customer ID 1, store ID 1, the location is Patna, the customer ID 1, the location store ID 3, the location is Noida, the customer ID 2, the store ID 1, the location will be Patna. Again, the customer ID 3, location store ID 2, the location is Delhi, the customer ID 4, store ID 3, and the location is Noida. We first just we have done what we have done here is we have to array customer ID, and we have the call attribute of customer ID, we have the attribute of the store ID. Okay, then we have the separate table, that is store ID 1, 2, 3, that are uniquely, and then we have the location against these attributes. These rows are Patna, Delhi, and Noida. That this is the second normal form. Then we have the third normal form. A table design is said to be in the third normal form if both the following conditions hold. Table must be in the second normal form. Transitive functional dependency of non-prime attributes on any super key should be removed. An attribute that is not part of any candidate key is known as non-prime attribute. In other words, third normal form can be explained like this. A table is in the third normal form if it is in the second normal form, and it will be in the second normal form if it is already in the first normal form. And the other criteria that we have discussed in the previous slide. For each functional dependency, X is Y, at least one of the following condition hold. X is the super key of a table, and Y is the prime attribute of a table. An attribute that is part of one of the attribute key is known as prime attribute. This is the table. In this table, the book ID determines the genre ID determines the genre type. Therefore, book ID determines genre type via genre ID. And again, we have transitive functional dependency. After decomposing it into the third normal form, it's look like this. Okay, as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, book ID, genre ID, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, and we have the price. This. We have the genre ID 1, 2, 3, and we have genre type fiction, sports, and travel. Just we have to arrange them in the third normal form. Okay, the remaining normalization types will be discussed in the next class, inshallah. Um, okay, have you any questions till now?
No, no question.
Okay, okay, that's great. Have a great day ahead. Allah Hafiz.